had a young woman come to me the other day, and she had got my name from someone, and she was coming because she had tried all sorts of counseling and faith-based counseling. She's very strong faith-wise, and she's prayed over her situation, but she cannot shake this feeling of dread in her, and she cannot figure out where it comes from. It's just a sense of dread. So she had heard about fascial stretch therapy and Reiki, and knew that I did both and wanted to have that type of treatment. So I told her all about both modalities, and that she can choose one or the other or have both. But with both of them, she's going to set the intention in her heart for what she wants to get out of these sessions. She said, I want them both, and she set her intentions quietly. And anytime before I start with someone, I set my intentions quietly. I do my prayer. I ask God to come in and do the healing. I ask also for any insights that I need for this particular case. So on this particular case, I started to stretch her and just starting to pull. And sometimes what I do is I feel the energy come out, and it feels like either it comes out with words, I can see it's sorrow or grief or some sort of childhood trauma or whatever it is. I can hear audibly what it is. But with her at the beginning, it felt like when I was pulling and just listening to all the tension coming out of her body, it felt like it was a lifetime of tension. And it was just pouring out. What I can do, since I'm so sensitive, I can actually feel it vibrate up my arm. And I will just hold in a position. And I get to a place where I kind of hover above my head, and I just allow for God to bring in guidance on what's going on with this particular person. And I said to her, I go, this feels like a lifetime of emotion coming out. So let's just breathe through it. I always encourage my clients just to relax and breathe. That's really all they have to do. Everything else will be done for them. Just the whole notion of letting go is huge in fascial stretch therapy and Reiki, with allowing for change to come through. So I'm stretching her, and then as that deep overall stress was coming out of her body, I start to hear. And I move her leg out to the side, and right away I get this message that she has been sexually abused somehow. And I am very cautious about ever projecting that onto someone or saying, this is what I feel, right? I said, it feels like someone violated you that you did not agree with in some sort of way. And she's like, yeah. And then I get this, I go, it feels like it's someone in your family. They hurt you, they went against your wishes. And so I really do try to step into what I already intuitively know and have been told. And so as we're going through the body, she's crying because really the emotions are coming out. And not only am I reading those emotions, usually if the client is aware, they are feeling all these emotions, and they're getting these rushes of memory coming through their head, and she's having this whole journey of her whole life as I'm seeing it too. I am parroting what and she's just laying there, what she is actually feeling. So I'm just reading, this happened and this happened and this happened, and she just was silent, which is great. I don't need any feedback because I'm just listening. I'm listening to what God's saying. I'm listening to what the tissue is saying. So we get to this place and she's crying, and I just am just telling her to breathe and relax and just allowing her to release that emotion that's been there all her life. The thing I kept feeling intuitively that she was abused by either her father or her brother. And father was stronger, but again, not going there until I knew for sure. So I pull her leg up and over. And I'm doing what, in yoga, which is called a pigeon's pose, where you take the leg and bring it in front. So I'm taking her leg and bringing it in front. And I'm leaning over her. And then God gives me this vision of a man leaning over her in her, when she was little, in her crib, or when she was really little. Like so little she can't remember. And I stopped because it was a total vision of someone coming in and sexually abusing her. And I said, it was your father. And she burst into tears. She says, I have wondered that my whole life. No one will ever confirm when I ask my family, why did dad have to go to court And why did my mom try to put him in jail? Like, it was this big family secret. And through the tissue and through the divine talking, she was able to piece together the very thing that she knew had always happened. So I held her, and I probably said some choice words about her father. Things like that make me so angry. And yet, it's not my place to be angry, right? It's my place to show love. So I just held her, and I loved on her, and I said, it was not your fault. And she cried, 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 and everything. We just sat there in silence, and I said, let's go into Reiki now. Let's see how God can now just take this and heal more. So we got her all comfortable, and I put a head behind her head. Sorry, I put a pillow behind her head and a pillow under her legs, and I got ready for Reiki. And I just felt again, all this emotion was coming out, all this darkness. I mean, more work than she could possibly imagine was just pouring out of her. And I knew God was healing, and we were getting rid of the very dread that she is so bottled up. Now, healing is never one and done. I mean, we are constantly on a journey of healing, but for her, it was like taking that pressure cap off and just letting the air out. So I just stayed there. She cried and wept, and we just went through the body, and I just felt God's energy in my hands. When we were done, I have a little recovery room in my office, so I got her all set up in the recovery room because I had another client coming. I sat with her for a while, and I said, you do not need to heal today. You do not need to be done with this. This is something that really, truly, you are going to have to process for a little while and come to a place of healing, and don't put a time frame on it. So I gave her these little journals. I hand out little journals for people to write in. I said, write down everything that you're feeling, write down whatever you want, go home and burn it, keep it if you want to, whatever you want to do, just stay here. So I really think it's important for people to process afterwards, and I'm thankful I have a place for them to go and sit in quietness with beautiful music on. And she did. She stayed for about a half hour to an hour, and then she left. So I saw her just recently, and she came back. She goes, okay, I'm ready. It's been probably a couple months since the last one. She goes, I think I'm ready. And then she said to me, she goes, what are you? You were spot on with so many things. And I said, really, all I'm doing is listening. You set the intentions for what you want, and I am listening to what God is saying in order for you to heal. You're really driving this, because if you didn't want to know and you wanted to keep that emotion stuck, it would stay stuck because you weren't ready, and that's fine too. So once I got her on this next journey, I started to feel all these times that she tried to commit suicide, and that she is a beautiful young woman inside and out, beautiful. And I kept seeing all these failed attempts and just this feeling of not enough. So we talked about it. And again, she doesn't say much. I mean, she's just in her place. She's closing her eyes. She has her hands open or maybe on her heart. And she's just silently crying and hearing. And when we got done again, she said, thank you. This is not easy to walk through, but thank you. I know I need to. And I told her, this is a hero's journey. When you walk through your pain, whatever that pain is, we always, as people, want to go from our pain to happiness, and we want to skip the work in between. But the work in between is where we heal and grow, and we can leave those bags behind, and we can move forward in a newness, in a lightness. And I told her, one day, all that sadness and that energy will be released and relieved, and you'll just know. The sky will be brighter. I told her my journey. I said, I had a lot of childhood trauma and a lot of different trauma in my life. And I said, the sky will look brighter. Colors will look brighter. You'll see and feel the love of others so much deeper. You'll come to a place where you never want to go back to those feelings of darkness again. They will come and go in our lives. But now, once you're clear of the energy that kept you stuck for so long, you'll know when it starts to sneak in, and you will say, no, not going there. And I teach my clients a lot of tools on how to cleanse themselves and to ground themselves in order for stuck energy to pass through and not to stay. So again, I tell these stories because my eyes have been completely open to the wonder and the mystery of life, and how God does not want us to stay and suffer on this world. He wants us to feel joy and love, and we can feel those even despite the stuff that we've gone through in life, because those teach us. Those teach us compassion for humanity. Those teach us what we don't want to carry around in us, and that teaches us how to grow forward and help others. It really is about connected. We're all connected. So have a great day. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless.